Hi, Islamic Dad here. If you enjoy this channel, please subscribe. It does help me out. Today, I am going to do a video on an odd aspect of being in a relationship or a marriage with a narcissist, especially, like, say, the second half of the devalue phase. And that is the sheer loneliness. And it's something you don't necessarily see until after the relationship, though you certainly, feel it at the time. You just kind of normalize it. For example, with my, covert narcissist ex, the last year of the relationship was basically unbearable. But even before then, I'd say maybe like the last 18 months or so, things had gotten so bad that I, I continued to have what I call date night. So, at the beginning of the relationship, we were, one of the things that we really enjoyed about each other was how active we were. Always going to concerts, always going to nice restaurants, always going dancing at the clubs, always going camping, always going to movies, just always having a lot of fun. And as the relationship went on, she started backing out of these dates, sometimes at the last minute. And by the last year of the relationship, it was pretty much a given that she was just going to either say no, she couldn't, and then make up a reason, or back out at the last minute. And so I continued to, live my life as I wanted to. And, I would continue to call these date nights, but it was kind of this like sad joke to myself, because I was always alone. So I would go see movies alone. I would go to really nice restaurants alone. I would go to the dance club and dance alone and drink alone. And I would go camping, sometimes, not necessarily alone, but without her. And it was just this like, really sad situation where, again, like at the time, it's, the phrase that I've heard is like the eye of the hurricane. When you're in the middle of it, you're so used to it that it becomes your norm. It becomes your normal. And so you don't necessarily, stand up and like, confront your partner or have a discussion about it. You just kind of roll with it because you're just like, oh, this is the way things are now. But, as you can imagine, during that last year, it was incredibly lonely. I mean, and these are like the more pronounced examples because I was actually going out and doing things that I like to do with, a date or a partner. I mean, very couple oriented things like going to the movies or going dancing. And I had to do them by myself. But also just in general, I mean, by that time in the relationship, um, as I've kind of mentioned in other videos, we might, or I might go the whole day without hearing from her. And whereas before she was like this, basically like an obsessive texter. I mean, she's just texting me throughout the day, letting me know what's going on and stuff. And by the end of the relationship, that had completely changed to where I might get a good night text at the end of the night and I hadn't heard anything from her during the day. And again, I'm not trying to say that that's like a big deal one way or the other. I'm just saying that was a drastic change from what was previously normal in our specific relationship. Same thing with hanging out. Previously we might have hung out a couple of times a week, watching movies on the couch, maybe having some fun time in the bedroom, maybe just kind of, hanging out and, having great philosophical conversations for hours and hours, ordering a pizza, ordering Chinese food, stuff like that. And then that dwindled too. And so by the end of the relationship, that dwindled down to where we would see each other maybe once a week. And then that dwindled down where we might not even see each other during the week. It might be once every 2 weeks that we saw each other. And again, if that is good for you, great. If that's normal for you, great. My point is that was a drastic change from the norm that we created for ourselves in the relationship. It was a very steep decline. And again, it was just by the end of the relationship, it was just bewilder. I can't say that word. It was astonishing how much things had changed and how lonely I was and how alone. And that's the thing is, after the relationship ended, and after I ended the relationship on New Year's Eve, and I was a free agent, so to speak, I did not feel as alone as I did in the relationship. I mean, and there's there's logical reasons for that. One is that when you're in a dead relationship or a dead marriage, if you still have integrity and ethics and even morality, you don't go dating and seeing other people on the side or behind their back. You just, you take one for the team. You do the right thing. And so in the relationship with my covert ex, covert narcissist ex, that was it. Like, I was still committed to the relationship, even though the relationship was completely dead and not fulfilling and not fun. And so I kind of limited myself, and that's why I felt more alone in the relationship than I did when I was out. Because once I was out, at least then, the possibility of dating was open. The possibility of meeting someone and pursuing them was open. If I was at the club or something like that and I saw an attractive woman, I could go over there and charm her and get her phone number and start dating her or something. And that was, that was an aspect that obviously wasn't there before. But I'm just saying, like, I was still single, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't feel as alone because, one, I understood, like, if I was going to clubs on my own or going to movies on my own, it was because I was single, not because I had a partner who had basically killed the relationship but refused to bury it. I think this is a good analogy. And so I was just kind of stuck in that limbo. And again, from what I've read and some of the videos I've seen, this whole loneliness aspect of the end of the relationship, end of the devalue phase, is something that's really, really common and not many people talk about it. And it's just, it stinks because, I almost want to put it in the abuse category. And, I know that people might roll their eyes and stuff. And so let me clarify, put it in the narcissistic abuse category or even the emotional abuse category. Because the reason I am saying that is because the narcissist, if they didn't want to have the relationship, they could just end it. But they don't. They make a conscious decision to simultaneously kill the relationship, murder the relationship, so it's just completely dead, but they won't leave. they make another conscious decision to stay in the dead relationship, which they have killed. And I don't think that's good, and I think it's abusive. I mean, I think that they can tell how harmful and damaging that is to their partner, and they don't care. They're like, well, this is convenient for me. I'm going to get that last 1% of supply squeezed out of my partner. And that's what they try to do. And so again, like it may sound a bit bombastic, but I think that like that, that loneliness aspect of being in the end of the devalue phase is again just another part of the narcissistic abuse. So, but the main point of this video is just I wanted to touch on the just sheer loneliness of being in a relationship with a narcissist during like the bottom half of the devalue phase, and how it sounds funny, but it's actually, you feel more alone in the relationship with the narcissist at that point than you'll feel single and free and away from the narcissist. So anyways, hopefully this video has been helpful. Thanks.